Mike says, hello, Kings of SEO. Can you share some basic steps when building a new website? Number one, especially about what to do when the site ain't ready to publish. I just, look, I'll tell you what I do. Again, there may be differing opinions between my partners and I, but I just always publish the site, but set it to no index. So I go to settings, reading. So in WordPress, go to settings and in reading, and then I set it to ask Google not to index the site. Now, whether they choose to do it or not, whatever. But I always just do that right off the bat. That's part, as soon as the WordPress installation is completed from the server, then I just immediately go in, and now I have VAs do it, but go in and click the button to no index the site. And then we just build the site out however long it takes. And then once the initial site is done with the initial pages, and sometimes, to be honest with you, we'll even uncheck it so that it, uncheck that box to allow the site to index prior to it being 100% complete, as far as like all the pages or the widgets and that kind of stuff. What we do is get the main structure of the site in place, the main top of silo pages, we get the content in place, and sometimes not even have the images on there, but the structure of the site, the graphics, the theming, the main content pages, at least the text on the pages, and then we'll go ahead and publish the site, or allow it to be indexed. And then from there, I'll go in and make some, tweaks to try to finalize the site. That's just my process. Again, it's probably different for others, but that's the way I do it. You could do like a maintenance mode or one of them coming soon plugins if you'd like. But honestly, if nobody knows of the domain name that you're building the site on, then nobody's going to go visit the site anyways, besides you and your team that's working on it. So in my opinion, having one of those coming soon pages is only important if you've done some sort of, kind of like pre-launch marketing, and people could be potentially going to the actual domain. But for the most part, like I said, nobody knows that the sites that I'm working on, until they're actually published and live. So it doesn't, indexed, and I start driving traffic to them. So I really don't even bother with that anymore. Any comments, guys?
Oh, that's absolutely how I do it. On a brand new website, there's no reason to hide it anywhere, put it anywhere, because the client can come in and look at it, and anybody else is going to look at it can come in and look at it, and then send you the feedback on what they think and what they want and what they'd like and all that, and it changes nothing. It'll still be on that domain, and you're actually ahead of the game, instead of putting it in a development server, which is what you should do with a redesign, right? So that you can leave the existing site alone. You go into a dev site, create the website in that development, and then you migrate. There's no need for that. This is a new project. WordPress, no index, no follow, so Google doesn't go in there, although they might. It shouldn't index, but that's how you should do it. That's how Land Solutions was done, by the way, right? The case study, and I haven't even talked about that, how that was created. It was totally done on WordPress. We just set it to no index, no follow until it was ready to go live. Then we took it off no index, no follow, submitted it to Search Console for indexing, and that's how it started. That's how it should be. There's no other reason to hide it. We used to do it to hide it, right? Put it in maintenance mode, but there's no reason for that if you set it to no index, no follow.
Yeah, there's one thing, because I'm also reading further, I would not use analytics or any Google tools on the new page yet until it's finished. And I would also not link syndication network or anything like that until there is at least 1 or 2 posts up there, because that's one of the prime reasons that there will be errors. So I would use those things only once the page is actually ready and I can actually roll it out.
Well, I will differ slightly on that opinion, only because while I'm building the site, and that's one of the things I've always done, is built the site, but I've been working on, I'm about to show you guys inside of Process Street, which is the tool that I use now, or the app that I use for developing SOPs, standard operating procedures. And I've spent the last month or so working on developing the processes for the site builds, because that's something I've always done myself. But what I was about to say was, when you publish a new WordPress site, you've got the Hello World post. The Hello World post is just a placeholder, basically, but it's an item in your RSS feed. And so I always order the syndication network immediately once I have the site published. Whether it's indexable or not, it doesn't matter to me. Once the site is published, I have an RSS feed with the Hello World post in it, so I can order the syndication network so that that can be built, because it's going to take 2 weeks or whatever for me to have it delivered. So I build out the site while the syndication network is being built. As long as that RSS feed has an item in it, they can still plug it into IFTTT to create the network. Because remember, when we build a network, we plug an RSS feed into it, and it has to have an item or it won't read the feed and it will give you a connection error. But they don't, our network builders will go find related content and and post the first couple of posts on the blog sites, Blogger, WordPress, and Tumblr, so that it's related content. It's to season or to seed the network sites with related content. And so the content's published, but it's not being syndicated yet from the WordPress site. In other words, it's not content being syndicated from the WordPress site. It's just content that our builders put onto the site, so that once the site is ready to be indexed and ready for blog posts, then the syndication network's already in place. So that's just my process. It's so that the network can be ready when I'm ready to start publishing posts.
I totally agree with that. And you mentioned it, I don't link it together. I would do it exactly as you said.
Okay. Here's an example of, you were asking about some of the most important things. I can't really scroll through here, guys, because a lot of this stuff has this is the standard operating procedure for a new, for setting up entity assets for a new client. You can see it, it's right up there. And this is for a multi-location client, but this is the process. I can't scroll through here, guys, and show you the processes. If you want this kind of stuff, you got to join the mastermind. I share this stuff in the mastermind. In fact, this project specifically is a project that I'm building out in sharing everything that I'm doing in the mastermind. So again, another reason to come join the mastermind. But here's basically, and this is a work in progress. I'm still not 100% done with this. I'm probably only about 60% of the way through getting my process completed for this. But this is all the stuff that I do, right? And again, just go back and watch the replay or take a screenshot. These are the plugins I like to use. Google Tag Manager, all of that. Once I agree with what Chris said. Typically, I will wait to add the Google Tag Manager. And from Tag Manager is when I connect Google Analytics, Search Console, also Google Ads for remarketing tags, conversion tracking. All of that stuff gets done through Google Tag Manager. So I usually wait to do that until after I have the site live, published, ready to be indexed, as well as the syndication network back, and preferably the SEO Shield back, so that I have the ID page URL ready to go and all of that, so that when I add structured data, which again, that's down here, JSON LD, structured data, organization schema, local business schema, all of that stuff, you can see this is all the stuff that gets done whenever I'm starting a new project. If that makes sense. By the way, guys, if you haven't checked out process.st, so it's Process Street, but it's process.st. This is a fabulous, fabulous application for developing processes or standard operating procedures. For years, I primarily just used Google Docs and YouTube videos, but this is so much better. And so you can see, like, again, I can't scroll down through here, but I get super detailed in these. And it's like you could take somebody green, like cold off the street, and plug them into one of these processes, and they could build a WordPress site to my specifications by just following this step-by-step procedure. So I would encourage you guys to start using this. Look, even if you're not going to build out full-on, well-detailed standard operating procedures for the operations that you execute in your business, which I recommend that you do, because that's how you start to delegate the shit that only you do right now. Does that make sense? Is to by documenting what it is that you do. But even if that's more than you're willing to bite off right now, right? If that's too much, I would encourage you just to start creating simple checklists for absolutely everything that you do. Whenever you're doing something in your business that you don't already have a checklist for, just take a few moments and just document the main points of the things that need to be covered or completed in order to complete that task. Because what I found, and again, I've just recently kind of bought into this kind of mindset or this methodology, because I've read a couple really good books. The Checklist Manifesto was really good. Another one was called Black Box Thinking. Two really good, and I didn't read them. I listened to them on Audible, to be honest with you. they were really, really good books that kind of woke me up to the idea of having checklists is not, you know, a lot of times it's our ego that says, oh, I don't need a damn checklist. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, but sometimes we get in a hurry or we get distracted and we might miss steps or we take shortcuts. And so just having a checklist can kind of help you to be more efficient, make sure that things are done always consistently, right? So that you're not missing steps on some projects that were completed on other projects. And then you're wondering why your results aren't the same. And then also from checklists, like I said, that's the really starting point for being able to develop standard operating procedures that you can then pass off or delegate to somebody else so that you can remove yourself from the process entirely. So I would encourage you to check out Process Street. They have, I think, a free option that allows you to develop just simple checklists. And I would start there if I were you. Okay. Any comments, guys? Nope. Okay.